What's up everybody, this is Ven, and I welcome you to the M.O.C Spotlight, where we take apart what you build. For today's episode, we'll be going over the winner of the Shark Week challenge that I proposed some time ago, where I gave viewers a whole week to construct a shark M.O.C and post it to the message boards for a chance to be featured on the M.O.C Spotlight, if I deem it interesting enough. And that M.O.C is called Overbite da Shark, created by It's Me, KLC. And of course, as always, before I get into why I think this M.O.C is the most interesting shark M.O.C posted for the challenge, let me go over my method of reviewing that involves a point system based on 3 fundamental attributes: the overall appearance of the M.O.C, the build of the M.O.C itself, and the concept and ideas behind the M.O.C's creation. Each quality will mount up to 5 points, leading up to a final score that will be determined at the end of the episode. Remember, this is all based on my opinion, and yeah, let's do this. And so, at first glance, this M.O.C is easily recognizable as a shark. It's not like some sort of mutated ogre thing that's happened to be called a shark. No, it's a real shark. Well, okay, no, not a real shark, but it's supposed to be based on an actual shark. I mean, it's pretty easy to distinguish this as a shark just by looking at it. I mean, come on. What really caught my eye about this M.O.C's appearance is its head. I think this head is really well designed, and it actually defines the shark's appearance. I mean, it's got these sharp teeth that a lot of sharks have. I know not all sharks have these spooky, scary, sharp, chomp you in half kind of sharp teeth, but most really well-known sharks, such as the great white, do in fact have these kind of teeth. And speaking of the great white, I can't help but get the feel that this M.O.C is kind of like a cybernetic great white shark. Like, I'm pretty sure that I've seen this kind of thing in a movie before, like Shark versus Mecha Shark. No, I remember it now. Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark. Yeah, or is it the other way around? Whatever. That's what this kind of reminds me of, except without the whole cheesy, crappy movie behind it. Another cue would be the color scheme, which consists of mostly silver and nothing but, along with some white on the underbelly. Not exactly the most exciting color scheme out there, but given that it is supposed to be a shark, and more probably based on a great white shark, that's okay. The only thing I'd have to say is that maybe a little bit more white would be nice, because I feel like there's a bit of an imbalance here. But anyway, back to the whole cybernetic shark thing. I can't help but get that impression due to the sheer amount of bionicle parts on here. Really, it's just the aesthetic of the bionicle parts that makes this shark look all robotic and such. I don't think the builder can help it given the medium that was assigned to him. I did specify Hero Factory or CCBS or Technic or all the above, and the dude went all the above. He used not only bionicle parts, but he used a bit of CCBS, especially towards the tail area. And I'll get more into that when we talk about the build, but anyway, overall it's a pretty cool design. However, there are a few things that stick out to me that I don't think exactly look right. First off is this gap between the dorsal fin and the head. I mean, if you've seen an actual shark, that gap does not really exist. I mean, unless the shark got like chopped up there by some kind of warhammer, but I'm sure there's an explanation for this when it comes to the build, but in terms of appearance, this is a bit odd for a shark to have. There's also these skull spider masks that are used on the pelvic fins. Those seem a bit odd there. And the usage of the jaw blade head on the tail here, that really looks odd. I would say the dorsal fin also looks a bit odd because that's exactly what I thought of it when I first saw it, but I've become a bit more forgiving towards it for some reason. I don't know, it just kind of grew on me. It doesn't look as weird anymore. But if you came up to me and you said, "Hey Ven, this dorsal fin looks pretty weird, man," I probably wouldn't argue with you because I could see it. I could totally see it, dude. And while we're on the topic of parts, let's move on to the build. So the build of this M.O.C is a bit interesting and a little hard to decipher given that it's all covered up. I mean, it's really well covered up and that's already a plus, but I can't tell how this M.O.C was really put together. But what I can tell is that it's really well articulated, and that's also a plus. I mean, just look at this. This is one flexible shark, and that's awesome. Also, let's not forget the articulation and the jaw, the fact that this shark can actually open and close its mouth, and I'm gonna get back to that mouth in just a second. But the design of this body, while it may seem a bit odd, just a little bit odd in appearance, it looks really well rounded, does the job, it has the shape of the shark, and it actually somewhat emulates the articulation and flexibility of a real shark. The only other thing left that I have to comment on would be just the decisions and those weird places that I mentioned, like the skull spider masks. I mean, they look weird, and they also look like they can just fall off given the way that they're connected. Those clips just don't work. They don't work on the sets, and I don't think they're so reliable on the M.O.C either. And then back to commenting on the mouth, I really enjoy the design of this mouth. I think this is actually one of the main features that called out to me and said this M.O.C deserves to be on the spotlight, because this showcases just a really creative and unique usage of parts. I mean, this M.O.C is already very intricately designed and has a few creative ideas here and there as well. The pectoral fins look nice, even though it may look a bit odd to some people. The dorsal fin is a very unique design choice. But the teeth, no, the head in general looks really smooth, really well designed, and I just really enjoy the usage of the new Jew Eskimo shoe pieces were used here as the jaws. Now, as far as the concept goes, it's pretty easy to talk about this. I mean, I made up the concept. As I proposed in the Swordfish review, this challenge required that participants create a shark M.O.C. Doesn't matter what kind of shark or what kind of features the shark has, as long as it's a shark, it's eligible. And I already mentioned earlier that this M.O.C is pretty easily distinguishable as a shark, has all the main features that a typical shark would have. And what I really appreciate about this M.O.C is that the creator didn't try to go beyond and crazy to make some sort of weird looking shark with lasers attached to its dorsal fin or whatever. No, he just tried to make a solidified shark M.O.C as far as I could see. I mean, it has the shape of a shark, well, most of the shape of the shark. Again, sharks don't have a dent between their dorsal fin and their head. I mean, obviously that's there to add articulation to the head so that you can actually move it around and whatnot. And that's what I like about this M.O.C. It's not like some sort of stiff and boring shark M.O.C that you can't move around or whatever. No, this shark was designed to look cool and take pictures. And I don't mean that the shark is going to be taking pictures, I mean that this articulation is going to make for some pretty cool pictures, such as these. It's a pretty solid design, and there's not a whole lot I can really criticize about it, aside from a couple of things that I would have done differently, of course. And with that said, allow me to go ahead and wrap this up. So in terms of appearance, this M.O.C receives a 4 out of 5. I love the design of the head. It's very sleek and cohesive, but the body could probably use a bit of this cohesion too. It's a pretty decent design overall, but there are a few things that, like I mentioned earlier, I probably would have done a bit differently. Like, I probably would have added a bit more CCBS towards the main part of the body, just so it looks like it flows a bit better aesthetically. In terms of the build, this M.O.C receives a 5 out of 5. This M.O.C looks pretty well solidified, and the range of posability for a shark M.O.C is pretty impressive. I kind of wish this M.O.C wasn't as well covered as it is, just because I kind of want to see how this M.O.C was built on the inside. And as far as the concept goes, I give this M.O.C a 4.5 out of 5. It did the job. It was a very simple job. Just make a shark, and it's a shark. However, there were a few design choices I didn't particularly agree with, and I think if they were done a bit differently, that they would make this M.O.C a lot better of a shark M.O.C. And now, with the final score, we are left with a 13.5 out of 15. I initially didn't have too high of an expectation for a shark M.O.C. Again, I hadn't seen all too many up until I proposed this challenge. So there really isn't all that much I could compare this M.O.C to, aside from the other contestants, and that's what I did. I looked at the creations of the other participants, saw what they had to offer, and in the end, I decided that this MOC had the best amount to offer. However, I was at a stalemate for a moment. I will make an honorable mention of the other creation that I almost featured, and that would be Jaws, created by Like Us or Lick Us. Yeah, we haven't heard that name before, right? Am I right? Yeah, we have actually. But anyway, this MOC almost took the spotlight because it most resembled an actual shark. The great white. But in the end, I found myself favoring the unique look of Overbite da Shark and that articulation that I think alongside with the design of the head really sold it for me. Thank you and great job to everyone who participated in the Shark Week challenge. I do plan on hosting more challenges in the future, so keep up with the MOC Spotlight if you want to learn more about that kind of stuff. And of course, great job to It's Me KLC. If you want to be like It's Me KLC, where your creation was featured on the Spotlight, whether or not you're entering a challenge, post it on our message boards. And that, of course, is at board.ttvpodcast.com. Just look for the LEGO Creations category and post your creation there, and it will have a higher possibility of me finding it, and maybe, if I deem it interesting enough, I will feature it on a future Spotlight. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Good night.